I'm going to give this another minute here since I started this thing up a little bit early because I got a little nervous that it wasn't going to turn on today. Did I put mascara on? Yep. Wow. That's what kind of day this is. Actually, you can hear me in both. Beautiful. Okay. I have an interesting question for everyone. I feel like I'm learning that these stelliums are incredible moments for us to truly understand what a house really means in our chart. And I'm wondering if everyone else is feeling the same. Like, so mine has been in the this Aries stellium, and the conjunction is in my third. And I now have the most robust delineation, probably, of everything that could possibly be to do with the third house. So I'm very curious if everyone else is finding that, and also that, like, this is how we learn about our own astrology so beautifully, is that we witness things like this. Like, we really don't want a stellium. We really don't want to feel this like crunch of Aries and everything going on. But in the end, it really is quite incredible to have this experience where you suddenly get to truly like feel what Aries is in your life. And is it comfortable for you or is it uncomfortable for you? You get to feel what house it's in. Is it comfortable or is it uncomfortable? And how many of the little, I was just talking to Michelle about this the other day, like, usually when something comes through, especially for 7 years with Uranus, like we're going to talk about in Taurus, but Aries, I mean, this is not a quick transit, everything coming through, especially Saturn. It's going to not just probably bring up one topic. It's going to bring up all of the different things that you could probably find in that house. And it's just such an incredible moment of really digging into, like, wow, this is what this house means in my life. This is what's coming up right now. Yeah, it's just an incredible way to, we're going to light a candle. It's an incredible way to learn astrology, albeit slow, a bit slow, because you have to wait for all of the things to happen. Okay, we're going to get going. I'm going to set an intention with that one. Well, they are intention candles, but because this Aries stuff is happening in my third house, my mind is a bit mush. Not mush, actually. It's the opposite direction, but it's equally as unhelpful. And so I am setting the intention to drink lots of water during this live, as well as go try not to speak too fast for you guys. I'm good at that as well. I did a breathing thing last time. Yeah. Welcome here, Tracy. Yeah, so I think, why don't we start off with just some 3 breaths. A for Aries, which we're still very much dealing with right now, and then B for Uranus, which is about to go into a place in our lives that is much more Uranus-like. So, however you like to take deep breaths, whether that's putting hands on your chests or on your sternums or whatever it is. But here we go. I'm going to take one deep breath in. Say hello to your feet on the floor if they are. say hello to Mother Earth and feel those roots in your butt going all the way down into the ground and wrapping around the core of the planet and cinching us nice and close and tight. Speaking of Taurus. Okay. I'm gonna bring this music down. And we're gonna switch over, fingers crossed, into the Canva presentation here. It's gonna come up. Just want to make sure it's here before I begin. Again, I've written this everywhere, including in the bios and everything, but we are going to be going through the week. Oh, it is coming up. Awesome. We're going to go through the weekly forecast for the week. There's a lot going on in how we're feeling, but really, like, the main thing is Uranus going into Gemini and Venus being there, which is really, really cool, and I'm loving it. And there's some really cool significations coming along. But yeah, we're going to start off with the weekly. So if you are watching this after the live, feel free to use the chapters. If you don't want to find out about the weekly and you just want to dive into some real nitty-gritty geeky facts about Uranus, by all means, please skip ahead. But if you're live with me right now, too bad. You're stuck with me. I want to announce that if you didn't watch the weekly last week, so the mini inbox astro readings, they are going up in price and changing a little bit as of May 1. But until May 1, you can lock in a reading at the original price, because I need a bit more time to get these products figured out. It's going to be splitting. Mini inbox astro is going to be called the full version, and that's going to actually be a bit longer, and it's going to be a higher price. And then I'm going to be starting up the focus mini inbox astro reading, which will mean that it's a single question, and then that's a really great budget point. But I wanted everyone to have time to lock in a reading at the old price if that was something that really worked for you and your wallet, before just hey, we're doing it. So we've got until May 1 to lock those in if you want to at the original price. I'm not sure if there's many spaces left in April, so make sure you get yours in for May. Next week's weekly forecast is also going to be a live stream, but we're going to do this. I talk about third house, like putting things out there, talking, writing, communicating, starting a blog, websites. I am going to be doing a live stream, and it's only going to be going out to my channel members, those who are part of my membership. And then on Sunday, the video will go out live to everyone else who is a subscriber. So don't worry, you will see nothing's really going to change, but it will be a live stream format. This is just basically helping me. So as of early next week, I start traveling. First going to Quebec City for a conference there that I'm presenting at, and then I come back home for 2 days. Peach gets her teeth cleaned. Where's Peach in this video? There you go. Peach gets her teeth cleaned, and literally from there, I start driving to the West Coast. So, and then I'm going to be there for a month and a bit. So I have been pre-recording episodes and everything like crazy. And suddenly it hit me. I'm like, wow, I should do a live stream for next week. And then I don't have to worry about pre-production, post-production, as much as I absolutely love that. But I'm really loving this format. So I would also, if within this week, please comment on this video or in the chat right now if you're here right now. Is there anything, because I'm so new to YouTube Lives, is there anything I could be doing more of, less of, all of those things? I really would love to know if there's something, if you guys watch a lot of YouTube Lives, maybe you're like a total veteran and know exactly, if there's something that I can add in here, please let me know. Yeah, West Coast girly. Woohoo. So I would love to know, if there's anything else, and I can hopefully get that ready I'm going to be going live Friday, April 24th at 5 p.m. And again, that's just to my channel members on Friday. And then on Sunday, that episode will go live to everyone else. And then, yeah, again, this week, we're going to start off talking about the week's astrology. Use the chapters to skip if you're watching this afterward. But otherwise, then we're going to be moving into Uranus Central. So, Monday, April 20th. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, the 20th. I literally just had, if you notice my glance go up, it's because I thought I'd got the date wrong. And I was looking at my computer, the date on my computer. Holy smokes. That's crazy. Okay. As of today, right now, I have this chart set to the right now astrology. And we are still, if you guys are still feeling this Aries grief, not grief, but just like it's been gritty. Like, what kind of words can you put to how you've been feeling over the weekend? I'm going to say gritty, like constricted, and yet kind of explosive at the same time. Also kind of, I've been really amazed at how much Mercury has shown up in this conjunction, because I've been having quite a few, Oh, chat. Okay, good. The chat's back. I've been feeling a bit almost like epiphanies coming through. And because Mars is such a powerful planet and Saturn is such a powerful planet, I really thought that Mercury was kind of going to be a bit drowned out. But I have been toting this idea for so long, the fact that we had that first Mars-Mercury conjunction back in October of 2025 in Scorpio, and it's been going through this thing where it has been learning who it is and what it wants to say and all the things. And so it's no wonder that it has been really bringing up how, like, these epiphany moments, and again, like my mind, grief. Okay. Discombobulated. OMG. That is such a good one. Oof. Discombobulated. Putting that top of the list. So this energy is still here, and it pretty much takes the whole week for it to dissipate. A beautiful thing about astrology and how this all works is that when planets are applying to one another, so they're like coming up, say Saturn is at 7 a couple of days ago and Mars was still at 5. As Mars moves in on Saturn, that is it applying to the conjunction. We usually feel the building up of it and then the exact conjunction a lot longer. Like, it may take the whole week that we feel that. But luckily and wonderfully, it doesn't usually take as many degrees as it moves away. So as it separates, and we start feeling a bit of relief from it a lot quicker than we do when things are coming up to the conjunction. So this week, things are going to be separating. I wanted to show this in a major way with the fact that, look, Mercury's already at 9. Woohoo! It's moving on. And Mars is going to be slowly moving forward too, which is great. Hi, Ontario, Canada. Yeah, interesting ride is a very, very good point. And thank you. That's wonderful. All over the place as well, Jen. It absolutely. So yeah, this week I found my oat milk in the cupboard where I keep my dry smoothie ingredients. So I didn't put it back in the fridge the night before. I have ADHD, and I take medication for it every morning. And since this cluster of planets in Aries in my third house, so like those day-to-day things, you wake up, you do the same things over and over again. No. I have forgotten to take my medication so often. And then Peach's medication, she takes 2 things, morning and night. She takes things for her heart. And oh my gosh, the amount of times I had to call my mom last week and go, oh my gosh, I'm out of the house. Can you please, luckily she lives like literally back road over there. And like, can you go give her morning pills, please? Because I completely forgot. Like, oy vey. And also with Aries, like having to do with the heart, I think it's the heart, the lungs and things like that. I don't want to be missing. I don't want to be missing medications. So I'm looking forward to this dissipating faux show. The sun is now in Taurus. So happy birthday to all of my Taurus sons out there. When is your birthday? Is it coming up? Or are you already having it? Are you an early baby? Venus is now at 26 degrees, which is about 3 degrees off of Uranus, so we're going to start feeling, I use a 3-degree orb. It depends on what astrologer you listen to as to if they do 3-degree orbs or 5-degree or even 10-degree. They are co-present. There's a big deal, even if Venus is over here at the beginning of Taurus. It's a big deal that she's even co-present in Taurus because Venus rules Taurus, so she'd be making a big impact here. Okay, so she is coming into or applying to, we're going to keep using these technical terms and we're all going to be just like amazing astrologers. Applying to Uranus, which means we're going to start feeling the energy of the themes and the archetypes of Venus starting to approach the themes and archetypes of Uranus. They come together, they collide, their themes. We're going to talk about that in a second. And yeah, I guess I've already asked this question here that I was very curious about is how are you doing after the stellium? How was the new moon? That was so interesting to me. Because all that energy was there, I felt like I couldn't log in to making intentions. I couldn't log in to what I normally do at a new moon. And that really bummed me out because knowing me, I was just like, I'm doing it wrong. I'm not harnessing all this energy in a place where I've been learning so much with Saturn, my ruling planet, being in Aries already. Like it's got a long way to go. And then the new moon, I think it happened, right? It was very, very early in the morning on the Friday. And I woke up that morning and I had intentions just come out of me. I had all this. It was a crazy transition. Did you feel that as well? I would love to know what your experiences with the new moon were. Did you make intentions? Because it was such a powerful one to really log into. Tuesday, tomorrow. April 21st, we start seeing even more so. You see Mercury separating even more. Now we have Mars at 9 degrees, and Saturn's obviously the slowest here, other than Neptune. But we see everyone kind of starting to move away. We've got 1 degree separation, 2 degree separation from Mercury and Saturn, which is really wonderful. And the next thing that we're watching Mercury do by the end of this week is come into a full square with Jupiter here in Cancer. Jupiter, I think, will be at 18 at that point. I'm just going to pause for a second and read some of these comments I've got coming through. Oh, wow, Tracy, that's awesome. That's such an interesting... Wow. Euphoric. Ooh, gosh. We are coming up with some good words here, people. I am really loving these words that you were coming up with. Wow. So exhausted, you passed out early. Yep. That's a huge one. And we said that last week, didn't we? The exhaustion. And usually Saturn does bring a lot of exhaustion. Saturn wants to restrict us. It makes us tired, but it's in Aries, and Aries wants to, do things. Neptune is also something that can make us tired because it can make us dreamy and foggy, which can lend us to thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't get my shit together kind of thing. But yeah, then all of the energy here was it was a lot. And that was then exhausting in itself as well. Yeah. So much going on there. So we have also the moon moving into Cancer tomorrow, Tuesday, 21st, which is then in its domicile here. So it's in a really beautiful place with Jupiter, and the moon only takes 2.5 days to move through a sign. So it's a quick thing. But it's always really good to know where the moon is, especially within your own natal chart, because you'll really start to notice when there's this is a great time for me to do these things. And then this is not a great time for me to do things. So This is a gorgeous energy to harness as the moon comes through Cancer. And I also wanted to mention, we had talked about a week or so ago how Saturn has been sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, this total power transformation planet, making this sextile, and it's finally now at 3 degrees separation. I had a difficult time with this one, with it being a malefic like Saturn, who is about those boundaries and structure and slowing everything down. When it was getting hit by Pluto, I felt like Pluto's usual propensity to like dive to those disgusting depths of things that we don't want to look at and asking us to slowly and very like determinedly, it just, oh, Pluto. The two of them combined had some stuff coming up that was just, first, it had me kind of stepping into my power a little bit because I am an Aquarius rising and it was bringing that to the surface. But the other stuff, it was just heavy. But we are seeing that 8 degrees here, Saturn, and I'm clapping, snapping, very excited for it to be moving forward. Wednesday, April 22nd, we start to see the sun here at 2 degrees Taurus coming into a square with Pluto. So this has been so inevitable, and we're seeing this constant conversation with Pluto, which is about to station retrograde in the next couple of weeks. We're seeing these constant conversations, trading with things around. We would have seen all of these planets come through its conjunction with Pluto. Right after they came through that stellium in Capricorn, everyone passed by Pluto. And then we had all of these cool sextiles. Hey, Kelly, beautiful to see you. We had these sextiles to Aries, and now we're going to start seeing a bit, like we've already seen Venus come through this square with Pluto. Now we'll see the sun, then we see Mercury, then we see Mars, and a square is a challenging moment or situation, event, situation that you may have to deal with. With the sun coming through, we're going to get into the details of that when it goes exact, but I wanted to mention that you may start noticing wherever you have Aquarius and Taurus in your charts, this may be a bit of a power struggle, either within yourself and what you're transforming in Aquarius, how you're maybe like feeling stability with the sun in Taurus. This is a moment where challenges may be coming up or constrictions in ways that then ask for growth or ask you to find some sort of resolution. When you have this powerful transformational planet like Pluto rolling through and the sun, which is like our core sense of self, big capital S self, you start really having that kind of push-pull between like who is more powerful. I made a joke weeks ago about, if you were ever a nerdy kid like me and you're like, ooh, what would happen if like Khan from Star Trek then fought so-and-so from something else? That's kind of what's going on here. It's like, ooh, what's gonna win out here? Is it Pluto or is it the sun? And the sun represents us. Like, it is where we are most brilliant. It very much lights up, both of these very much lights up the sun and Pluto in our natal charts. So where are they placed? That's gonna be, yeah, I just... I should start that. I should start a supplement energy drink like shipping service for these moments, for any kind of stelliums or anything that happens in Aries. That's a great idea, Dana. The other thing happening on Wednesday is that we have this beautiful conjunction of the moon and Jupiter at 17 degrees in Cancer. Jupiter exalted, so really bringing a lot of what it is that Jupiter has been working on as it's come through since last summer. It's stationed retrograde, now it's direct and starting to speed up a bit, and it's about to have a conversation, a square with Mercury. So there is even more kind of conversation coming through. So I would really Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, take into, keep in mind around how much you are learning. Like, Cancer is all about learning about nurturance, learning about working with our bodies and like when we feel things, are we allowing ourselves to live within it? Are we speaking them into fruition? And I think Jupiter has been really like highlighting that for us and either showing us that we do not bring these things up, we do not listen to them, we're not bringing them into our minds and actually using them with awareness, or maybe we live in them a little too much and it's a bit skittish with that crab that can go like side. It's like, I'm gonna dart and protect myself. I'm gonna keep my hard exterior up just in case someone tries to hurt me. Well, too bad. The moon coming through, this is the mother coming through. So take this time to lean into whatever you feel is coming through here, because this is beautiful. This is a good thing to work with, even if it's not comfortable. And then when Mercury comes in to square this, I think we're going to be speaking to it. I think there's a building here, not just with the Sun and Pluto, but with this whole major journey that Jupiter has been going on for us and with us. Excuse me. I'm gonna have a drink of coffee here. Oh, we've skipped moving. Yeah. If anyone wants to talk about care packages, talk to Kelly. He's got the scoop on how to take care of ourselves. And it's so Aries as well, like emergency. All right, Thursday, April 23rd, 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time. We have Venus conjunct Uranus at 29 degrees Taurus. Again, Venus is in her domicile. This is her home in Taurus. So there is so much to be said about the fact that Venus has been the one to come through here first, before the Sun, Mercury, Mars. Venus has kind of come through, I think, and brought some soothing to this place. I feel like in my own personal experience over the last few weeks as Venus has been here, she has still brought up a lot of themes that Uranus did, and I may not have wanted to look at them. But what it did, it actually like caught me at moments where I was actually able to love it a little bit more and give it more soothing or give it more time or do what I needed to do to retreat with it and like journal with it, whatever my little soothing needs were in the moment. So just a beautiful example that Venus and Jupiter may be benefic planets, but it doesn't mean that they always do like the luckiest things. They can still bring things along that don't feel good, but the fact is that they're there to help you heal, help you work through these things. So the exact conjunction of these two is at 8:50 p.m. At 29:53. So, but right Thursday, very early Thursday morning, Venus gets to 29 degrees and is right there conjunct. But if you're someone who's very particular, the exact conjunction is at 8:50 p.m. my time, Central Daylight Time. The other things I wanted to mention about this conjunction here, this is the second time that Venus has been conjunct Uranus as it's about to move into Gemini. And there's something, this is one of the major reasons where just astrology gets me and gets me good, is that there are patterns that happen in our lives and in astrology that are just so astro good. So last summer, if you remember, Uranus moved into Gemini for the small window. Again, we're going to get to that in a moment. And when that happened, that just happened to be the moment that Venus had come around and she was right here about to move over. And she's done a whole circle now, whole circuit, and is about to hold Uranus's hand into Gemini yet again. So I think there's a real impactful, beautiful thing. And this could show up so many different ways in our lives. But definitely I see that there's a lot of meaning to this, I think. And I, over the last few days, have really been, anytime I'm sitting still, and I usually do talk to the planets in a way, or just in a meditational state, meditative, I mean, And Venus, I feel like, has been speaking a lot to like what it is that Uranus was trying to do. She's like a big sister in a way, coming through, going, it's okay, this is what Uranus meant. Like, and we can deal with this. Like, this is what Uranus meant. And again, it's not been fun or comfortable or entirely wonderful to work with, but it is a chance to meet it with better awareness. And the fact that she was here when this happened last year, this was literally the date that I left Vancouver with all of my possessions. My sister and her kids had driven out with a truck and a trailer because only about a month, 6 weeks before, I realized that I had to leave to grieve a relationship that had completely upended every part of my life, and I kind of lost everything in a way. And I was like, I need to go be with my family. Taurus happens to be my fourth house. So Venus coming through and Venus conjunctions, we're about to talk about this. Right now, I'm really leaning hard on what Uranus means here, and Uranus's transit into Gemini, but the actual conjunction of Venus and Uranus is quite an impactful thing on its own. And for me, over the last 4 years, I'll say 3 years, every time that Venus conjunct Uranus, things about what then eventually happened would come whacking in and surprise me, or I would hear something, or the news would hit me from my partner at the time, or what have you, that was slowly like breaking this apart. And then last year, Uranus entered, we left Vancouver this day on this conjunction, which of course was so incredibly hard because Vancouver is my home. I've been there for over 15 years and it's still my home. But to leave it for a time and come here to a place I'd never lived before was insane. But Venus was there helping me. And then the moment that Uranus entered Gemini, a few days later, we arrived here. So again, they can be crunchy moments, but I would love to know for you, when we get to these dates in the next slide or two, really look back in your journal and see what it is. Tracy, I'm going to talk about the date in just a second here, definitely. And also, we need to remember when it comes to Uranus that this is the third time that Uranus has been here. It's been doing a retrograde. It's still coming out of its retrograde shadow. So last summer it was here at 29. It moved into Gemini. It came back to 29, went back to, I think, 27, and now it's back here at 29. So it has really been cleaning some stuff up for us here, definitely. When it comes to Venus, Uranus together, we can think about unexpected events in love, creativity, relationships, or finance. Do not take that one lightheartedly. The financial one is a big deal. Venus represents finances because money can really be the thing that allows us to have pleasure, to give us things that are pleasurable. And then Taurus itself, because it is such a sign about stability, it can come down to finances and what it is we possess, the material things that we own. So there's a lot of financial meaning here this week. So if you have great amount of savings and you feel like splurging, go for it. If something comes up, though, that you're like, oh, I want to spend a bunch of money on that, and you don't have a lot of savings, that's a kind of quintessential situation where in a day or two, something might come up wherever you have this house that you need money for. So just watch your finances at the time. But if this hits you creatively, pow, beautiful, incredible. This could also be disruptions or liberation in partnerships, and not meaning that there's great breakups or anything, but just like things happening just within relationship. Or you notice, if this is your 7th house, you may notice your partner going through something. It's also a lot to do with activism. Like Uranus is the planet that we go out and like stage rebellions, and we go to rallies and things like that. So this could be a lot to do with female, the Tues, LGBTQ2AI communities. There's a lot of things here. If you suddenly feel like going out and like standing up for something, Now is a beautiful time, Thursday. Definitely do something interesting or different on Thursday, because I don't think you'll have any choice. You'll just feel like you need to. But this is a really beautiful day to do something unique. Perhaps it's with your partner, or just have an incredible conversation doing something like that. Late on Thursday, we're still on Thursday here. We have Venus actually entering Gemini. So Venus in Gemini is like creativity, communication, finding pleasure and curiosity, delighting in the mind, because Gemini is an air sign. It's very much of the mind. You may start into lots of flirtations with people and like multiple people, or feel like you're flirting with different forms of creativity, that kind of feeling. Watch for gossiping or any kind of flightiness when it comes to relationships or anything like that. Just if you notice a group that you're usually super grounded in suddenly starts like getting really up in their minds, and like anxiety comes in, those kinds of things, the things that lead to gossiping, you're good. You can quell it. Just make sure you don't go too far. Venus is only going to be here for a couple of weeks, so it's not like we can really have fun with this. I think Venus and Gemini can be just such a beautiful thing, with, the idea of being able to just find pleasure in all of the things, and that curiosity piece. I love that. Saturday, April 25th. So we've skipped Friday. We're going straight to Saturday, because here we are. We're coming into some of this more intense energies before Uranus moves into Gemini. So Saturday, April 25th at 11:10 a.m. CDT, we have the Sun in Taurus perfectly squaring Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees 28 minutes. And again, this is that kind of power struggle. Look at your chart and find out where you have Aquarius, where you have Taurus, what do those two houses signify, and look at then, are there challenges coming from two places? Is it you fighting with yourself? That could very much be a thing, a power struggle within you. A big thing that keeps coming up for me here that hit me the moment I saw this was the idea of the transformation that's happening in Aquarius. Like, it's relatively young, because Pluto takes 18 plus years to go through a sign. So Pluto being at 5 and about to do a retrograde, so it's about to go backward yet, it's young what it's doing here. And so it could really be challenging the things that you have like naturally and solidified in your life. And that could then be this square to who you are, your vitality, your purpose, the sun, our nature could be getting kind of called into a place where it's like, I just, I don't want to shift like this. I don't. Also, Aquarius and Taurus are both fixed signs. So that gives even more kind of rigidity or stubbornness to wanting to change anything. Hey, Stephanie, welcome here. All right, and then Saturday in the evening, it is here. 7:52 p.m. CDT, we have Uranus entering Gemini, and a new 7-year cycle begins, and we can all bring out our party poppers and be like, thank the Lord, it's not in Taurus anymore. It is going to be staying in Gemini until May of 2033. I don't know how I'm going to feel about journaling that date, but I'm sure I'll get used to it by the time it gets there. But wow, that feels weird to say that. It still is quite conjunct Venus. It's, Venus is separating obviously, but it's pretty close by. So there's still, like, Venus was able to move ahead of Uranus and kind of pave the way in a way, I think, of settling in things, letting there be some balance, some harmony as Uranus comes into Gemini. But there you go, guys. We are here at Saturday. We just have a little bit more to look at here. So Sunday, April 26th in the afternoon, we have that exact square from Mercury to Jupiter in Cancer here at 18 degrees. So if you have any personal planets or points here, it'll also be very combined with that. This is a great time for making big plans. The big plans coming from Jupiter, seeing the bigger picture, again, very Jupiterian, or have big conversations about what it is that you want to do. Mercury being in Aries is going to still be quite hot. It's just come out of that conjunction with Mars. So the way you're communicating, you're thinking, and using your mind might feel really hot. And in that case, I have made sure to note, be careful of moving too fast before the facts are in place. Last year, when we had Mercury in Sagittarius, I spoke a lot about the fact when Mercury is in Sagittarius, it's in its detriment. Because Sagittarius is so big picture thinking. It's ruled by Jupiter. This is why I'm bringing this up. So Jupiter's whole essence of like expanding and wisdom and wanting to like learn more and go out there, and it's very much not about the minutia, which Mercury is like minutia central. So with Mercury still very close to Mars and being such a mutable planet, like it'll like be doing what Mars kind of wants still, it's going to be definitely doing what Aries loves to do, which is burning bright, initiating, moving, making that spark. So just if things feel like, yeah, I can put all of this down on paper and I can dream these big dreams, amazing, but just be mindful that Jupiter might be thinking a lot bigger than Mercury is thinking about just yet. Just make sure that you're thinking about the minutia of things before you make some big announcement or anything like that. The other thing happening on Sunday, there's quite a few things happening at the same time. Venus here in Gemini is sextiling Neptune. A sextile is a very sweet, supportive, more kind of behind the scenes supportive aspect between two planets or points. This is happening at 3 degrees 7 minutes from Aries, or Neptune's in Aries and Gemini. Wow, I keep doing this today. Venus is in Gemini. So this is a beautiful time for art, creativity, the imagination, very Neptune, the dreaminess of Neptune, merging those two together. This could be a really beautiful day as well if you're in a relationship, to just have like really have some gratitude for any sweet moments that come up, or any of the, if you're not in a relationship, just being out in the world and feeling the romanticism of something that maybe usually is quite mundane. So take the win. That's what I heard in my head. Relationships could feel sweet. Situations could feel romantic or romanticized. Yeah, this is a beautiful thing happening. If it is then involving this whole Mercury-Jupiter piece here, make sure that you definitely have the facts, because Venus and Neptune, these two, like, they are so off in the clouds about people and situations and how good they are, and like putting things on a pedestal, and again, like rose-colored glasses. Just watch that one. But I think this is generally going to be a very sweet thing going on, perhaps in the background to help even more so like sweeten this square that we have with Jupiter. And then late evening, we have Venus applying to the trine with Pluto. So we're going to be seeing this next week. Make sure you come back next week. This trine will be happening at 5 degrees once Venus gets there over the next couple days. And a trine is like the most supportive aspect. So that's really gorgeous. And it is with Venus, who is a benefic planet. So she is all about magneting, beautiful things to oneself, or toward oneself. It's about finding pleasure, joy, creativity. With Pluto and Venus have a lot to talk about within kind of intensity in relationships. So this could work really beautifully for you, or it could come up as something where your partner's like, whoa, like slow the horse down here for a second. Make sure they're not calling you a horse. That's just so rude. But intensity in relationships, creativity, finances, love, friendships is a big one. Venus is talking. here because she is in Gemini. So communicating, thinking, moving. Gemini is a mutable sign. So that might be part of this here. You may be able to feel like you can take the power and transformation that is going on in Aquarius and perhaps use it in relationship. Venus has, again, just had this meet up with Uranus, so you may be thinking kind of outside of the realms of your usual self, or thinking a bit zany, those kinds of things. Yeah, this is something that I think is going to be quite fun to work with, or you may really be able to understand like the power that you have in a situation or within yourself. Partnerships do not need to be involved here whatsoever. A lot of the time I find out Venus is just working on us, on our inner selves the whole time. But with this one here, I would just watch if the intensity goes overboard. Venus, Pluto, like a theme that usually comes up there, can be like major intensity or over. Pluto loves to like find one thing to think about and just stays on it. And you know, when it comes to like Venus, Venusian things, if we get obsessive or stalkery, that kind of thing, we don't want to do that. That kind of intensity is a no-go in this situation. So that was the week astrology, this week's astrology. And now we're going to be diving into some slides about Uranus, some slides about Uranus in Taurus, and some slides about Uranus in Gemini with lots of dates involved. And then we're going to be heading into the horoscopes. The horoscopes, it's me going through each sign just so that everyone knows where this is happening for them. I've put up some points of what each house means, and then I'm going to be speaking to them. So if you do have any other questions around where this is happening for you, especially if you have a planet, say, right at the beginning of Gemini, I'm looking at you, Michelle. This is a ripe moment to go grab like a mini inbox astro reading and just say like, talk about Uranus in my house because I've got these 3 planets here and I don't know what it's going to do. That kind of thing. That's a perfect way to use one of those mini inbox astro readings. So I wish I'd put some like really zany, amazing music onto this slide, because that is what Uranus deserves. All right, already feeling it. Whoo! So, Uranus, this is a bit more of I'm actually like a very hobbyist astronomer, and my goal over the next 5 years is to become as proficient as possible in the astronomy side of things as I am in the astrology side of things, because I am obsessed. I've just always been obsessed, and now I'm just finally giving myself, maybe this is Uranus in my 5th house. Finally allowing myself to like really get into this. So this is me dallying, stepping a little bit into some of the science side. So Uranus cannot be seen without a telescope. And that is why the traditional astrologers from like 600 BCE all the way through to the 1700s, they thought that Saturn was the last planet, which is why Saturn has like a really kind of bad rap of being the boundary, of being that, I'm going to stick with boundary because they thought that Saturn was that last planet in our solar system. And so it is that kind of last planet, that death space where like you've gone the farthest you can go. It's the coldest that you can go. Kind of that's why Saturn has so many of the delineations that it has. And as we all know, it hasn't changed since these more modern planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, were I was about to say invented, were discovered, because we all very much every day we know Saturn is perfectly got the delineations and the themes that it should have, being as cold and structured as it is. But Uranus came along. It's the 7th planet from the sun. It's very cold, colder than Saturn. And it has rings. Did you know that? It has very, very faint rings. It has a lot of moons, and it's actually rotating on its side. It's a bit interesting that way. I cannot wait to get a telescope one day that can see this. or perhaps go visit a place where there's a telescope where I can see this, because it would just be so good. Officially discovered in 1781 by William Herschel, not to be combined with the Herschel backpacks. It is not considered a traditional planet because in the traditional ancient Hellenistic astrology period, they couldn't see it and they had no idea that it was even there. We needed a telescope. Uranus was discovered at the time of the American Revolution and the French Revolution, which has given it a lot of its meaning when it comes to independence, revolution. And it was also discovered during a time of new sciences being invented, and a lot of sciences where like they were dealing with oxygen and hydrogen at this point in time. And so it was a lot to do with like the idea that there are gases and things that we can't see that are so transformative and that could combust, that can do surprising, quick, rapid things. So thus, and this was all part of the Industrial Revolution, and this again is where Uranus gets a lot of its archetypal meaning from. The themes of new technology, innovation, invention, enlightenment. It was also the time of the Enlightenment around then, like people were really delving into New Age. Imagine if they could see us now. People were diving into a lot of more spirituality, just breaking free and rebelling from a lot of the norms that had been set by kings and queens and all of the things before this point. So Uranus really does come across as this planet that was discovered at a time of great rebellion and invention and all sorts of things. The symbol that we see for it, it represents a lot of different things. And depending on who you speak to, you'll get different meanings from this. I really love the fact that Uranus, it has those two kind of C's on each side. This is actually to do with receptivity. So whenever I joke, if you ever have had a one-on-one reading with me and I'm talking about Uranus, it's kind of like the satellite. It's bringing messages from, the divine somewhere. Also, it is said to have a cross in it for its divinity. And it kind of has something to do with Venus as well, with the fact that there's a bit of an upside down Venus in it. There's such a Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole that you could go down with this. But definitely in my experience, Uranus has so much to do with great awakenings from within. If you are a very spiritual person or someone who does like ayahuasca or any of those kinds of things, Uranus can really speak to you. And that's why I love, like, a lot of people are just scared of Uranus and the fact that it like brings great change. But if you're kind of piping into Uranus and thinking about him and like logged in, you will notice that what it's about to change is you're getting messages about it the whole way up. This is that whole enlightenment piece around it. And that's why I love the fact that it looks like a satellite, because we can get some serious messages and downloads from Uranus. It takes 7 years to transit a sign. So it's going to be 7 years now in Gemini, which means it takes 84 years to transit the whole zodiac. So we probably won't be seeing it again in Taurus or Gemini, depending on how old you are. We won't be seeing it in Taurus again until April 25th, 2102. How are we going to say that? Yeah, so a long time. So 76 years from now is the next time that we are going to be seeing it enter Taurus. I'm not talking Gemini here. Uranus as well, it only retrogrades once a year for about 5 months. So that's about 7 retrogrades in each sign. If we're looking at the whole house system, which I use, it'll do about 7 retrogrades whilst it's in that sign. And these are long retrogrades. And when Uranus is retrograde, it does very much come into speaking about that inner awakening in a big way. When it's moving forward and it's creating all this change and somewhat destruction in our lives if we're not ready for it. When it retrogrades is kind of our moment where we have the inner awakening and the inner change that can kind of process and integrate what it has done on the outside. And in that case, I do really enjoy a Uranus retrograde. I sound like a weirdo for saying that out loud, but I do. The themes of Uranus. So with all of that, it is known as a disruptor, but also as the breakthrough, ingenuity, and innovation. My favorite, it was Sabrina from Rewilding. She always calls Uranus the Great Awakener, and I really liked that because there's a positive and there's a light and a shadow way of looking at that. It can be the Great Awakener in the fact of like, if you are someone wanting to be awakened, yeah, like we are about to be awakened even more. If you're someone who is kind of walking along with their head in the sand, any of that kind of thing, or just, sometimes it's just too hard to look at stuff and to be constantly growing. Like, I'm an annoying person to be around sometimes. So anyone who isn't quite ready for things to happen, the Great Awakener can be a real, like, it can really speak to the shadow side of self in the fact that like we're having to be broken apart in a way of like being able to be exposed to a part of ourselves and our growth that we wouldn't maybe get to. So it's not really shadow aspect, but I guess just not something that feels very good. Liberation, freedom seeking, imagination, kind of like breaking the chains. It's also known to be erratic, impulsive. It can be something to do with estrangements, very sudden estrangements. It could speak to those who follow uncommon pursuits, like astrology was actually one of the examples. And electricity and lightning was a cool one because that's very much to do with the fact that electricity was being invented around the time that Uranus was discovered. And then if you think about a lightning storm, you never know when it's going to hit. The storm may be over you. What a beautiful analogy, actually. You may understand that there's a storm around you or that you need awakening or awareness and stuff like that, but you don't actually ever know when the lightning is going to hit. In that way, this is where I truly find like such a divine beauty in Uranus, in that like it is not just someone coming through with a sledgehammer, which I've used as an example of Uranus sometimes. It is truly about like that divine timing. Uncertainty, which comes along with whenever we're waiting for divine timing, sudden changes, independence. Oh, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, Jen. Good point. The really beautiful thing that I wanted to quote from Grant Louie, who is an astrologer from way back, where you will seek to express your most characteristic self in a creative and original effort. How good is that? So remember this actually when we're about to talk about this Uranus in your natal chart versus Uranus in the sky transiting around. Like, how beautiful is that? Where you will seek to express your most characteristic self in a creative and original effort. Yeah, Dana, you're right. It does look like a lightning pole. I'm never going to unsee that now. I love that. So yeah, let's talk about natal Uranus versus the transiting Uranus. So the meanings stay the same. So it speaks to where you create or need change. You're the most original self, or you have big ideas. So where you have it in your natal chart is where it's going to speak. The house, the sign, if it's conjunct anything, is where you may be seen as unusual or weird compared to the norms around you. Fuck the norms. And if it's aspecting a natal placement in an important way, so a conjunction, sextile, square, trine, opposition, That's a big one with Uranus. It will affect the way that those planets or points behave over time. That will change though. In younger years, of course, Uranus is running amok because we're figuring out who we are. The more we become concrete in who we are, what our planets mean, what it is we're going through, our own enlightenment, Uranus starts to change and mature and evolve as well. In the background here, I've actually put a screenshot of my natal chart. So as you can see, this is my stellium in Sagittarius. I don't have my fixed stars here in here as well. Yeah, I have Saturn, Mercury, Uranus, and the Sun very close to one another. And boy, oh boy, do I live this. And I must say, the thing that I have heard the most, I'm quite a wallflower type of person. I'm not, I am outgoing, like in this situation and at gigs, like I can sing and I can be outgoing, but I'm still like totally freaking out on the inside because, Saturn is very strong in my 11th, so I do have a lot of anxiety in groups. But that Uranus next to my Sun, the reason I mentioned the wallflower thing is people are like, oh, you're an Aquarius rising, so of course you're weird. Actually, no. I totally attribute it to the fact that I have Uranus conjunct my Sun. I make big, bold moves. People laugh that if you have your Uranus Sun next to one another, that you will have a lot of different hairstyles or things like that in your lifetime. Oh my God, you guys, I'm going to put together like a tiled wallpaper for you at some point to show you the amount of colors I have had, styles. There's been faux hawks. I am fully, like, I'm very shaved underneath. I don't know if you can see that. That's been there for a long time. And this is the first time I've actually had long hair since I was 17, which is a long time ago. That's the kind of way that Uranus can show up in your life. And of course, when any major Uranus transit happens in the sky, it comes back and it will like ping your natal Uranus as well, and it will very much light up your chart. So definitely have a look to where your natal Uranus is, because it's going to get spoken to whenever Uranus does something more important in the sky. We get to Uranus in the sky. So again, it's all the same archetypes and themes, but it just shows up quite differently because it's usually quite momentary. It's where great change, pivots, and surprises can affect your life or the people around you. And it usually can feel quite fresh, like a natal Uranus that you deal with, or that I deal with. Like, I've grown into it and I now see it as a superpower. People just used to tell me I was weird. Friends used to whine and complain a lot because I was just too different. People always complained that they couldn't keep up. And I used to see that as a major, shameful, awful thing about myself until I started realizing how much I fucking love my Uranus and Sun. And there's a lot of ways that I needed to temper it. Like there was an ego check in there, probably because it's right next to my Sun. There was a lot of ways that I needed to realize that I do need to, there's moments to not leap. But it's the transiting Uranus. It's a fresh Uranus. It's one that we are maturing with for sure. And that every time it goes through our spaces in our charts, we become more accustomed to it and we learn with it and we grow with it. But it's going to shock and surprise and do its thing, probably more effectively than we will notice over time with our natal one. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense or not. Oh, thank you, Chantal. It will upheave the house that it's in order to bring greater awareness and growth into your life. It will bring up the themes of your natal Uranus placement, especially if it's aspecting it. If the Uranus in the sky is at all near your natal Uranus as a conjunction, a sextile, a square, a trine, an opposition, that's mega Uranus moments. And just basically in the end, if you are afraid of change, like that's kind of what it comes down to. And this is not at all some sort of shaming statement, because who are we kidding? We're all afraid of change. Change sucks. You know, we're humans. We want stability. We want safety. Our nervous systems are wired to keep us safe. Uranus coming through? No, thank you. So if you are afraid of change, so when we're all afraid of change, Uranus will feel more destructive. Being open to change or being aware of the benefits of upheaval at times will allow Uranus's effects to feel less scary. I promise. I don't know if I can make that promise. I promise. So, some dates. Here we go. We're going to look back. Uranus has been in Taurus. I've just been keeping Aries on the ascendant here for you guys, so it just constantly is in the same place. I hope that's okay. Uranus has been in Taurus since May of 2018. And right now, so this is a shot of the chart when Uranus first arrived. So it came over the border into Taurus with Mercury. But it was squaring Mars in Capricorn. So boy, oh boy, that must have been a fun one on its way into Taurus. Third time, this right now, today, as we're talking, this is the third time Uranus has been at 29 degrees Taurus. So the first time was July 4th, 2025. So last July. And again, that was conjunct Venus. So she held its hand because she was in her domicile in Taurus, and she held the hand over into Gemini. The second time, when it was retrograde, was November 10th, 2025. So just, I don't know how many months ago that was, but not too many. And then the third time is April 21st, 2025, and that is as well conjunct Venus. So have a look at those times. Where were you in your life at those times? And where were you also at in your life and the house that Uranus has been in May 2018? I can't tell you how much the idea of home or all of that stuff came into play in my own life since May 2018. Like that, just absolutely intense. I have renovated, holy smokes, the amount of things that I have constructed. That's also kind of very Taurian. Taurus can be building, construction, that kind of thing. And as if any of you were following me last year at the beginning of my astrology social media channels, a weird hobby that I have is I love constructing homes. I love renovating homes. And as of 2018, I was renovating our second home. And then I built a music studio out the front of one of them. This is with my ex-husband. And then I moved to Vancouver again and built a video studio there. And then last summer, when July 4th, I get here, and what did I do all last summer? I renovated the crap out of this home to make it all woo-woo and colorful and wonderful. So Uranus coming through my fourth house. So what has that felt like for you? What house is it that Taurus has been in? And since 2018 and this window last year, how has this been affecting you? And sorry, I need to explain something here because I'm going to talk about in the future as well. Pluto. That's awesome. There's a big, if you see in your natal chart, and I'm going to talk about this in the Astro Central series. Oh, I wanted to mention that. If you want to look at Taurus or Gemini in the Astro Central series, they are out. I purposely made sure that they were out in time for Uranus to be moving into Gemini. If you want to learn, it's just a little 15-minute video, but it goes on a deep dive into the signs. But next will be the planets, and then we're going to be talking about the houses. And a major thing that I want to talk about when we talk about planets and points is the IC, the Imam Coli. I'm probably saying that wrong. And that is another representation of home. And so when I know you guys probably were just like, wait, but Uranus wasn't in Taurus when you renovated the last house. It just so happens that Uranus, when it's just in Gemini, is on top of my IC, which is also a very major representation of home. So I'm not going to be done with my homes yet, apparently, until it gets well into Gemini. But it begs the question still of what has changed for you with Uranus going through Taurus. And if you look back over the last 7 years, this is one of the major things about Taurus, if you take anything away from this, is at the end of a Taurus, at the end of a Uranus transit, 7 years, usually you can look back and go, I don't even recognize myself or this house. And again, fourth house for me, I don't even recognize my interpretation of home, parents, ancestry. All of it got just totally overhauled in the last 7 years. So where has it been for you? Has it been 7th house, 8th house, 10th house career, 1st house, Taurus risings? I can't imagine what that would have felt like. So let's just quickly, we're almost done here. Uranus in Taurus, this hasn't been easy because Taurus is a fixed sign. So Taurus, fixed earth sign, it's all about building something and holding something. It's very measured. It is consistent effort. It's staying power. There's a reason that Taurus comes after Aries. Aries is that initiation, but it can't continue the thing. You need Taurus to continue. Taurus is ruled by Venus, pleasure, beauty, comfort, nourishment or nourishing things, also finances, sensory delights. So Taurus can very much be represented by or you can feel the Taurus effects when you think of things that are like soft, warm, cozy, yummy, delicious, things that smell good. The moon as well as in its exaltation in Taurus. So that's a big deal also when we're thinking about, Stacy, I'm so sorry. But also, can you look back, Stacy, when you look back over the last 7 years, can you say that you are the same person or that your even enlightenment, for lack of a better term, or when it comes to your identity, your self, what has shifted and changed there? Like, has it, you don't have to answer that part, but like, have you noticed a major change? Uranus, as we've gone through, it wants to liberate. It wants to shift and change and pivot things. And in Taurus, that's kind of a no-go. Like Taurus is like, I'm okay here. I'm a fixed sign. I like stability. I like allowing people to feel safety, security, staying power. Also it like an earth sign. Speaking, if it's Uranus and Taurus, we're talking like an earthquake. The earth doesn't want to shift apart and break apart. The earth is a solid, beautiful thing. Maybe it does. Actually, I should ask first. But that's the, that's so beautiful, Stacy. Thank you for sharing that. Stacy said, identity has totally changed and I'm more spiritually inclined. So Stacy mentioned that she's a Taurus rising. Very, 8th house Taurus. That would have been a big pivotal one as well. Taurus is not into what Uranus has had to offer over the last 7 years. So there's something really gorgeous here about the fact we're having Uranus moving into Gemini. Gemini is a mutable air sign. This is of the mind, and mutable means that it's movable, shiftable. So intellectual, communicative, this is Gemini we're talking about now, connected, in motion, curious, adaptable, able to shift ideas when presented with new information, adjustable, holding more than one perspective, seeing both sides. That's actually what the sign of Gemini, it's the twins, it's two heads, and that's where it's kind of being able to see both sides of the situation or multiple things like that. And flaming pink sun, absolutely. If your Uranus is at 0 degrees Aquarius, absolutely. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So again, more mind. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It is the planet that is allowed to go speak to the gods and bring the message down to Earth. It's all about communication, exchange, movement of information, and like this sounds exactly like Gemini, doesn't it? And that's why Gemini is the way it is and why Mercury lives so beautiful here. Mercury is also a very mutable planet in a way, in the fact that when Mercury is around any other planet in the zodiac, it takes on a lot of the other planets' themes, and archetypes, those kinds of things, which can be in our benefit sometimes and also be absolutely awful, like when it's around Mars too much. Now, I've put here, not official. So everything I say right now, this is not official. This is not traditional astrology, and this is not modern astrology. And there's probably a lot of astrologers who would want to fight me on what I'm about to say. Uranus kind of, like when I read out all of the significations of Gemini, does that not sound a lot of like quite Uranian? And so in my opinion, so I'm a traditional astrologer, so I base myself on the traditional planet rulership. And in modern astrology, of course, there's a lot that I do that is modern astrology because we live in the modern era and we have so many more beautiful themes and archetypes and so much more time with these planets and signs and houses that we have learned and understood more. So to say that I'm like 100% traditional, I don't know if anyone can say that. So it is, but that's what I meant to say. But in modern astrology, you're taught that Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And there's definitely some crossover there for sure, especially Mercury as well, is said to do really well in Aquarius. So and Mercury and Uranus they're quite similar in a way to one another as well. That's a whole other conversation that people could get into a fight about. But if you ask in a, oh sweet, thanks Jen. If you ask me what sign Uranus most sounds like, feels like to me, it's Gemini. Not that Gemini is a sign that like brings about like I have to have pivotal change and like that kind of thing. I don't think Gemini like necessarily signs up for. But when it comes to this kind of great awakening and this shifting and this ability, this is why I'm so excited about Uranus moving to Gemini. Uranus being there is going to there's an ability for Uranus to be able to like, when it changes something, Gemini, I think, is going to allow us to feel like we can move with it easier. Like we can step into whatever the change is possibly a bit easier, that we can see things from all sides, all different points of view. It might make it feel a bit messier, I wonder, but definitely that whole like Taurian fixed part is gonna fall to the wayside. And it's kind of this whole time we have had a sign kind of fighting what Uranus has been trying to do. And so I don't think Gemini is going to be fighting as much unless in your Gemini house you happen to have like a lot of Saturn or something like that. Then you may have another planet going like, no, I don't want to change. But Gemini on its own, I think this is going to be a really, really interesting place to have Uranus. And we haven't, unless you're, so no one alive would have felt this because you would have, if you were 84 right now, you were born when Uranus was in Gemini, but you wouldn't be remembering that, hey? Yeah, I'll have to go talk to my grandfather. He's 102. He could tell me. Oh boy. Okay. So Uranus and Gemini in 2025. Uranus was already here July 7th. It stationed retrograde last September, so we had a whole bunch of time from 1 degree. It only got to 1 degree in Gemini. So when people are saying like, hey, what about the window that we have? We didn't have a great window because Uranus barely got into Gemini and then it stationed retrograde and it was all internal at that point. So it was pretty slow motion, but maybe you did notice. Did you notice anything starting last year in that window from July 7th to November 7th? Did you start anything new here? Did Uranus start shaking anything up in a Gemini way? I love that, Jen. Tracy, I love that too. That's That's great. Oh, thank you. But yeah, I've been looking back on this a lot, and unfortunately, because my IC is right here, in Gemini, the themes, even though they are Gemini, they are still very like connected to home and my place that I retreat. So, I feel like I'm going to be better able to speak on this once it passes my IC, but that's not going to be for a while. But yeah, I just wanted to write these dates down here for you as well. So Uranus was in Gemini July 7th of last year. It stationed retrograde September, but because it was slowing down, because it takes a while for a planet to slow down to station retrograde, it only got to 1 degree, 27 minutes. And then it went backward and left Gemini November 7th, and then it stationed direct in Taurus. And that is what we are working with now, is this direct Uranus. What are we going to see when Uranus is here? These are the next couple months. First, we have a Mercury conjunction, which is sweet because Mercury, again, belongs in Gemini, so it's going to love being there. I have Mars pictured here right now, so don't freak out on that one. The Mercury conjunction is May 17th at 1 degree Gemini, so already Uranus is at 1 degree, where we only got to see it last year. Then we have the Uranus cazimi. So that's when the sun comes in and meets Uranus. And I'll talk about more of that when we get into those. I've already filmed this actually. Wow. Oh, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. So May 22nd at 1 degree, we have a Uranus cazimi. Mars comes through. This is a big one that I'm going to be, sorry, that was my chair squeaking. I'm going to be looking out for this one. Mars conjunct Uranus is, as you know, like heat of Mars, and it's burning action, that kind of thing. Meeting a planet that wants to upheave things. Big shit can happen when Mars Uranus combines. That's happening July 4th at 3 degrees, and that's also happening at the time where Uranus is coming into the bending of the nodes, so it'll be a very fated time as well. There's a lot happening at the beginning of July. So make sure you're keeping an eye for the Q3 readings as they come through. And lastly, I thought I would also put in here, it's going to trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius July 18th. So that's quite a ways down the road. Yeah, everyone, if you want to know what it's like to have Uranus on a moon, that is Michelle's story. And you had that right as soon as it moves in at 1 degree. Your moon is right there. Woo! And then we do have a retrograde this year because, like I said, we have a Uranus retrograde once a year, and that is September 10th to February 8th of next year. So we can expect it, but it doesn't go back into Taurus. It stops before it does that. It is staying in Gemini. So we're at the horoscope section, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around through this. Again, if you want to see this in your own natal chart, head over to my website and grab a mini reading or a full-length one if you want to have an actual conversation with me. I am booked into May now because of this travel and everything going on. So make sure you grab your spot so that you can make sure that you get in for May. Otherwise, I'm going to be pushing into June for readings pretty soon. But thank you very much for that because that's so incredible. I also really want to thank all of my members because you guys have just been, it's just so helpful. Like every little thing counts. I am trying to do this full time, which is another beautiful reason for moving out here and into this glorious little house, is that I have low bills, but I still have bills. And I'm trying my best, and we are living. I'm a very frugal liver anyway. That sounds weird. I live frugally. There we go. But your channel membership, all of that, literally you're helping me pay my mortgage. You're paying my groceries. You're paying the Zoom memberships that I have to pay for, those kinds of things. So, yeah, this is, that is how this helps me, literally. And anything that you guys donate in the super chats or anything like that, that is what that's going toward. Literally, like groceries, peaches foods and meds and things, like the basics, because it means that I'm able to do this 24/7 and concentrate on making content. And oh gosh, I am very aware though of how privileged I am to be able to do that, because I dream come true being able to do this job, you guys. So thank you to my members for supporting in that way, and thank you to anyone who donates in lives and things like that. So we'll start with you, Aries risings. Now you can, of course, watch this for, oh, thanks, Kelly. You guys can watch for your rising sign, sun, moon sign. Some people like to watch for their Venus. It's whatever speaks to you. That'll be a video that I'll put in the Astro Central series about what you may feel more or less of as you listen through. But anyway, I'm gonna plow through here after I have some coffee. Oh, that's true. I don't see Gemini moons very often. Also, you guys, it is so heartening and lovely to see you guys talking to one another in the chats. I absolutely love that, and like YouTube comments as well. That supportive community in here is just so gorgeous. Michelle told me I would love that when she told me I should be on YouTube. I just didn't know though. It's beautiful. Okay, Aries, this is happening. You have Gemini. Hey, Congo 3931, welcome in. We have, for you, Aries rising, Gemini is your third house. So this is your mind, your daily rituals, communication, writing, local community, sibling relationships or peer relationships. And probably over 7 years, you're going to feel all of these things being touched in some way. If you have a car or anything like that, third house can also be cars, transportation. You may notice that you need to fix your car and something like that. So you're really going to notice over time, perhaps way that you see your daily environment may really have to shift. Like you may notice that your rituals may shift. You may notice that you start writing more, or perhaps if you've noticed that you have something that you want to write, Uranus is going to change the way that you think that's going to happen. Your mind and the way that your brain works. Over the next 7 years, you may come across some things that really allow you to express yourself differently. You're going to communicate yourself differently, or perhaps the topics that you're wanting to talk about or write about may really change. In more modern astrology as well, they talk about third house can be blogs or websites, like social media. And Uranus and Gemini is a big, like we talked about, like tech, being able to communicate maybe via tech with the website. So what are you starting, Aries? What are you creating with Venus moving in here right away? Are you speaking in a different way? Perhaps your local community is going to totally change, or your relationships with your siblings or your extended family might change as well. Taurus. This is happening in your second house of personal resources, your assets, money, possessions, self-worth is in here, and also natural talents, gifts. Second house is one of the career houses. So 2nd, 6th, and 10th is financial, career houses, work houses. So you may really notice a shift. If you're someone who is working, there may be a huge shift in your income over time, that you may be getting awareness, awakenings, and situations that come through that really shift the amount of income, which then obviously will reflect in the possessions that you have. Second house as well could do with perhaps you leaning into a talent that you didn't already lean into. Perhaps you didn't think it was worth it, or those kinds of things. Uranus really might bring in like wanting to step into perhaps even, well, let's go whole hog in this example. Like say you've been thinking about going into a spiritual pursuit and charging money for it. This might be the moment where that whole machine, that entrepreneurial machine of the second house, you deciding to like step into something that you literally have to get downloads to be able to do, that kind of thing. Otherwise, if you don't work, This could be a big change that over 7 years you decide that you're ready to purge everything. You're ready to live like totally off the grid, with and like have like with the simple life kind of thing, and the things around you are just purely what you need. That kind of thing can happen here. Yeah, so I would really watch that over the next 7 years, you work with Uranus to be able to make sure that what it is doing is bettering your income. If you know that you hate your work, and that you should move out of it, but you just don't want to, or that kind of thing, Uranus is going to be helping you do that and be asking you to look at your self-worth and how it is that you want to feel about yourself. When Saturn came through the second house for me, that was the most big, huge thing. Like, it affected my finances and everything majorly, but the main thing that changed was my self-worth. So Uranus will probably majorly be bringing you some downloads there. Geminis, this is happening in your first house. So you have just had Uranus coming through the inner realms of you. You may have found a therapist during this time, that kind of thing, found a counselor. And now that Uranus is moving into Gemini, you are now using all of that change. This goes for everyone. You're now using that change to bring it into your identity, into your being, who you are, who other people know that you are. And it's time for you to know that you can change, that you can be exactly that unique, beautiful self that Uranus wants you to be and that Gemini wants you to be. So this is you to the core, coming into freedom, being your free self, setting yourself free. I'm so in love with finding out how this is happening for Gemini risings. I have a lot of Gemini rising people in my life, personally. And so each one of them has a situation that's a bit different, either in relationships or at work and things like that, but all of them have this such incredible potential, and I'm so excited. Gemini risings, do not be afraid of this, because this is just such beautiful potential from the 7 years that you've just spent with this in your 12th house, now coming into who you are and changing that life direction, changing personality, and perhaps even changing the way that you see your body and use your body. Cancer risings, this is happening in your 12th house. Now, you've just had it going through the house of like hopes and dreams and your groups, communities, and now it's coming into your inner, more hidden realms, the place that you retreat and in solitude. This can be, in traditional astrology, they speak about it being the place of hidden enemies or self-sabotage. And it's very much speaking to mental health. So in the next 7 years, you may suddenly realize, Cancer risings, that you want to dive into the whole mental health. Maybe you're finding different modalities of like wellness practices, meditation, again, ayahuasca, trips like that, or finding a counselor, finding a mentor of some kind. Because everything that Uranus has done, not just in the last 7 years, but over many years, as it's gone through all of these upper houses, everything to do with your visibility, being out in the world, you may find that you really might need to come into some rest, that you need to come back to recalibrate within yourself. So even if this doesn't resonate with you, that is absolutely fine, because it may just come down to the fact that you're going to find some really incredible ways to rest. You may find that you suddenly, I didn't realize that, taking my mind off into this place within books or these kinds of things, Uranus may purely be speaking to allowing you to find a whole bunch of different ways to find solitude and meet yourself in a really beautiful place. Instead of perhaps before, you've just like kept going and you just kept using your brain. You didn't ever let your brain like calm and have a time to, chill. So this could be speaking to a lot of different things here. Definitely with Uranus coming through the 12th, when it comes to the whole hidden enemies, this is quite real. Like, I've had a situation with this in the last 5 years. It wasn't Uranus, it was Mars that came through. Uranus is asking you that if there is any part of your life that you feel you didn't, that like you know what's going on, but you're not talking about it because you're Cancer and you're really nice and you just want to like appease it and it's fine. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave that person there or at work or whatever it is. This is the time where Uranus is going to come through and say your mental health is so much more important than anything that you are just allowing to continue. Hello. This is, oh my goodness, summer is starting. I saw a ladybug outside. Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of this little fly. Okay. This is a major moment where you're really going to be asked, like, does your mental health have to be sacrificed anymore? And Uranus is going to go, nope. Cut that shit out. So if you're ready for this, if you're willing to do the change, Uranus is probably going to do the change for you. Leo, this is happening in your 11th house. This is your friends, groups, communities. This is the house. That 11th house is the house of good spirit. 11th house is also the house of hopes and dreams for the future. I love this for you guys because we had Jupiter here a year ago, and Jupiter was in its detriment. And I feel like Jupiter here for everyone, Jupiter and Gemini, was like, of course, a moment of a lot of expansion, but it was not easy. It really brought up, again, it was a benefic planet bringing up a lot of stuff that wasn't too awesome. But with Uranus coming through here and it being Gemini and having Venus as this little hand holder, I would lean into any kind of way that you want to start being really unique in the communities that you find. Like if there's groups out there that you have not been part of yet and you're like, I'm really interested in this thing, but I just do it. Uranus wants you to go out and explore, use all of the aspects that you have within you of having Gemini in the 11th. Make sure that as well, if you notice that you have lots of hopes and dreams, do not poo-poo them, write them down, set them into a bucket list, whatever it is that works for you. But definitely this is really shifting and changing a lot of these like bigger energies, the wanting to like move out into the world in a way. And it could also be very much affected by the fact that you have so much of your 9th house with everything going on in Aries, with Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Your 9th house is getting a foundation laid in it, and that's your beliefs and your philosophies and things. So that could be a big deal when it comes to this 11th house changing, and Uranian newness for the next 7 years. Virgos, all of you Virgos, this is so huge. This is career, public facing life. If you don't work, this is a legacy. The way that other people see you in the world, the things that you do for the world. Gemini being here, this also can speak to leadership and your reputation. This is about to have a 7-year total change in formation. Like if you have been in jobs that you have just been doing for the sacrifice of it, really like you haven't been listening to your heart in a way when it comes to what you want to do or what you know your higher purpose is. Again, this doesn't have to be career if you're not someone who's working or if you've retired, but what it is that you want to leave in the world or want to be seen leaving in the world. This Uranus piece is going to be asking you to really step into that authenticity. And this also then, I'm going to hearken over to your 6th house where Pluto is, because we're about to start having the North Node moving into Aquarius, where we're having the eclipses happening in Aquarius and Leo, which is also asking you to step into your authenticity. And 6th house can be that work house. So I think that there is a huge piece here where I really encourage you to step into the dreams that you have, liberate yourself, to speak purely and very Uranian. Allow it to shift and change your world, because you've just had your beliefs and your philosophies changed for the last 7 years being in Taurus, but you may have felt like you really need to fix that. You needed to stay the same, but this is going to be asking you, it's time. If you feel like there's something in your world in the 10th house that needs to change, it is time, and this is when it's going to happen. So I'm so excited about this. Libra, 9th house. This is coming into philosophy and beliefs, your higher education. It could do with law, foreign travel, spirituality, you being a teacher or finding a teacher or a mentor. This is super interesting to me in the fact that this is going to be liberating and opening up an ability for you to kind of really become awakened. If you are someone that leans into that side of things already, I would just play into this hard, like lean into what Uranus is doing in the 9th. Asking it, what can I do more of? What books can I read? What videos could I be watching to expand your mind? There's so much conversation with such beautiful, amazing astrologers that I listen to around the fact that the 9th house is a house where we do all of this work coming up here, and we go through some really big things as we come up. And when we come to the 9th, it's almost like the gate, the stairway, the very long stairway, and the gates that we have to pass through to come to this mid-heaven place, this 10th house, where we are at the highest part of our charts, and then we move into the 11th with the groups and the communities. There's something about this 9th house of really stepping into our integrity. And so if you're up for it, this Uranus, whether you're up for it or not, actually, Uranus is going to be bringing this through. It's going to be asking you to step into that and going to be really shifting. You may come out, you start it with one religion, you come out at another. You may start wanting to do one entire modality and come out doing another, or you may notice if you're in school or anything like that, that you just suddenly you're ready to learn something just so radically different, and you go and you take it to the max. So lean into this. This is gorgeous. Scorpio, this is happening in your 8th house. And as someone who is weirdly the gate, so spiritual. Oh, the gate is flooding. Oh, I thought even the spiritual gate is flooding. We could say that too. Oh my goodness, that's lovely. Okay, Uranus in the 8th house. So this is shared resources, finances, debts and loans, debts and inheritances, or say death and inheritances. That's a very traditional Hellenistic astrology idea of this, the death and wills kind of thing. Also, where we find and meet our fears, grief, intimacy, intimate conversations with people, or having to expose ourselves and be vulnerable in that way. Also, I find 8th house really speaks to any kind of karmic ties or connections that one has, for better or for worse. So Uranus coming through here is going to be asking for a form of authenticity from you that you have not even been able to delve into in your lifetime yet. It could bring some major shift and changes to the money you earn from other people, or the money that you share either with business partnerships or perhaps a spouse if you're in a relationship, or could speak to the loans, the debts that you have if you are a business person, that kind of thing. So here, I am someone who is weirdly in love with the deepest and grossest of inner work and things. So this makes me kind of yes, it's going to ask you to go to the depths. There's going to be situations or just things within yourself where you're going to be asking yourself questions and being asked to see things from all sides of the dice. What am I trying to say? Anyway, all sides of things. And this is such a beautiful opportunity for you to be able to step into major growth, major digging into the ground and unearthing and unrooting actually is a good, cutting some ties with things that no longer serve you and moving into who you truly are and who you want this 8th house, how you want to be in the 8th house. Good luck, Scorpios. This is gorgeous, gorgeous movement for you. Sagittarius, this is happening in your 7th house. So this is your one-on-one relationships, commitments, spouses. It can be business partnerships. In modern astrology, they see this as the place like your clients as well, if you happen to be someone who has clients. This Uranus being here, you know, personally, I know I was sharing stories around Uranus and Venus coming together and it being like the explosion of relationships and things like that. That is not the only way that Uranus works in the 7th. In a lot of ways, for a lot of you, you may actually notice that this has nothing to do with you. It's actually you watching your partner go through something quite pivotal and changing, and you notice them changing. Or because it's just this pivot house here, this angular, the 1st and the 7th being opposed to one another. There's a big question here around maybe having a mirror put up where you are having to look at your identity and who you are when it comes to relationships. Relationships might be coming through to teach you these things. You might have scenarios pop up where it's asking you, like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to allow in my life at this point? Uranus is going to be greatly asking you to come into deep awareness as to who you have beside you as you move forward. And also probably like, I want to bring some spirituality into this. Like, how do you listen to your inner world? Not just like that Gemini mind, we can get really stuck up there sometimes, but really listening to some intuition and whatever form of dreams, downloads, epiphanies. If you're someone who has epiphanies when you're in the shower, this could be a big thing. But yeah, when it comes to these 7th house themes, this is a really beautiful place to have cultivated, I think, by Uranus, because it really, when you come out the other side, you become so much more clear around what you want. If you are living a life right now where you are in something that you do not want, this is going to help you clarify that and just like set yourself on a new foundation moving forward. Capricorns, this is happening in your 6th house. So this is your health, daily grind, your daily habits, employees. If you are someone who hires people for things, this is also the house of pets and just general like sacrifice to come to the table and work for the things that you want. Where this is another one of those career houses. 2nd, 6th, and 10th are the career houses, and the 6th house is where you put in that grind to get the work done. Very much want you over the next 7 years to be, no matter what kind of phase of life you're in and whether you work or not, it's Uranus, I think, going to be asking you to really look at the way that you approach your health, the way that you take care of your body. This may have you in 7 years coming out the other side with an entirely different perspective on what you're eating or how it is that you're working out. Or if you are someone who noticed that you were like a totally, what's that word? Sedentary? When you don't move very much, by the end of the 7 years, you may be one of those people that are like hiking 4 hikes a week kind of thing. Uranus is going to be coming through and asking you to prioritize yourself, your unique self, all of our bodies need something different. And that may mean that you are changing those daily habits, that the ability to sacrifice yourself needs to lessen. Perhaps you need to put more of yourself out there. Uranus is going to be asking for change here. Also with pets, this you may notice that you go through a real change of perhaps having like 20 pets by the end of this, or if you're someone who just notices that you have pets in your life right now, there may be situations come up where you have to ask yourself if that is the most healthy thing for you, that kind of stuff coming up. I'm going to bring this constantly back to health over the next 7 years, because in the end, all of these things that we do are greatly going to or all the things that Uranus is doing is greatly going to be talking to how it is that you take care of yourself. You keep that, Michelle. You 100% keep that. I've been wondering what this is going to be for you coming through the 6th. I think I have some ideas, but I'll share it via voice note later instead of right now, just in case it's too personal. Michelle, you're going to have 20 dogs by the end of this. That's what's going to happen. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Aquarius, this is happening in your 5th house. I am very excited to see the creativity that comes from Aquarius's in the next 7 years, especially when we're talking about tech, when we're talking about Uranus having that kind of ingenuity within how one is creating things. The kind of the modes of artistic expression that may be coming out, because the 5th house, creativity, pleasure, joy, self-expression. Also, children, if you want to be a parent or you are a parent, this could very much talk about your children's lives changing majorly. Perhaps this is a moment where they are pivoting and going to university, that kind of thing. The 5th house itself is the house of good fortune. And it's actually as well the house of Venus. So it's beautiful that we start this whole thing here with Venus being in the 5th. So really use this time to... Sounds good. All right, cool. I expect all voice notes from you to now. Sorry, Michelle and I are now bantering way too much. But I expect now all voice notes to be about dogs from this point forward, and I'll start looking at different dogs for you. You can have this one. She's quite cute, but expensive. Oh, she just groaned after I said that. Uranus coming through the 5th. How are you expressing yourself? You may notice as well, because romance can be part of the 5th house, that you are ready to be flirting with everyone, or perhaps the way that you are attracted to people or the way that you find pleasure out in the world is going to completely change. Very unexpected. You're like, wow, I did not think I'd be attracted to that person, or wow, I didn't realize that I would find so much joy in this thing, big or small. So this is a really gorgeous place, I think, that we're going to be seeing, especially over the next few months with all this clarity coming through. Maybe there's something that you are creating. 5th house is very much, if you are an entrepreneur or anything like that, 5th house can be where, animal communicator. I gotta stop reading the thing here. 5th house. So I'm an Aquarius rising, and this is something I absolutely adore here, is the 5th house is very much where we create for the people of the 11th house. And so it could be really speaking to you realizing different products you want to put out, different, or if you've never done that before, maybe this is it. Maybe with Pluto coming through your 1st house, you're now stepping into creating something that is truly authentic to you to then put out into the world. Ooh, Aquarius, there's some big things brewing here for you. Pisces, 4th house. This is about your foundation, security, home, parents, your ancestry and your roots, that inner home. And that inner safety, 4th house being at the bottom of our charts, is where we can go to retreat. It's the thing that we create within ourselves that then we can always go to when we need a moment, when we need a break, when we need to nurture ourselves. Having just had Uranus come through the 4th, you may find that you are moving. You may find that a large home project comes up. You may notice also your relationship with your parents, if that's applicable to you, or relationship with generations that have come before you may suddenly really turn on its head, and it's something that you need to look at differently, that you need to approach differently, or perhaps it needs approaching at all. But when it comes to the roots, and that the Uranus may really total personal thing here. Within the time that Uranus went through my 4th house, I did very assisted ketamine therapy. And that was one of the most pivotal, and this is not me saying that everyone should go do this at all. This is a very specific thing for every person, and you need to really look into it before you do it. Not a recommendation here, but not but, and when I did this, it totally liberated a sense of home within myself that then allowed me to move into. So this is where I'm bringing in that whole great awakening piece. It may just purely be in downloads when you meditate in the day or things like that. Moments where you're noticing that there is healing happening or activation happening thanks to Uranus, situations and events happening around you that call you to the table in a new way. Yeah, a lot of shifting around home here for you. Inner, outer, home that you grew up in early years, and the home that you live in now. So Pisces, this is going to be a gorgeous pivotal moment, I think, for you. All right, you guys, I'm at the end of my slides here. I just wanted to remind you, this is more to remind me, check out the Astro Essential series for Gemini if that's something that you want to look into. Make sure you go grab a mini inbox reading before May 1 if you want to lock in that original price. And also that the Scorpio full moon weekly is going to be live this coming Friday for members. And then it will go live for everyone else on Sunday. But if you are a member, come join me. It's 5 p.m. CDT. I'm going to put myself back up here. All right. I just so appreciate all of you for being here, all the comments. Michelle is going to become a dog whisperer at this point and like do tarot readings for dogs. Today, just for the fact that we're talking about Uranus, I wore my septum ring, which I can't get permanently done because I have Uranus next to my sun, which means I need to be able to take it out and like be able to change what I look like and who I am at all times. Yeah, so I've totally forgotten until we brought it up to full screen here. Oh my goodness, I feel so grateful for this community. Thank you for being here, Tracy. Thank you to everyone who sent those super thanks through. Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been gorgeous. 2 hours again. I always try to do them shorter. It's not happening. I think it's the horoscopes. I'll tell myself that. Good luck to everyone with Uranus moving into Gemini this week. This is such a beautiful time, as I always say, to be journaling, working with your inner realms and allowing yourself to become who you are, uniquely you, your authentic self. Lastly, I just want to tell you how grateful I am to be living where I am. I am in central Canada at the moment, and this is the homeland. This is the land of the Anishinaabe people, the Dakota people, the Nakota people. Also, it's the homeland of the Métis Nation. And I'm so grateful to be able to call this place home. It nurtures me and it is supporting me in such a way that I never could have imagined. And in a couple of weeks' time, when I come to you, I will be on the West Coast, the homeland of the land of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. And I'm just so grateful to be able to call this place home. I know how lucky I am. Love you all so much. Thank you for being here. I will see you Friday. Yeah. All right.